If you want kids, that is what I'm going to bring up today. You're new to the channel, welcome. You're already a subscriber and you're just coming back to watch this video, welcome back. So today, I had this thinking today. If you really want kids, I'm saying for the people, if they really want kids, if they're really serious about it, and they're willing to do whatever it takes, well then, you better prepare yourself. Be ready. Because if you're not, you're gonna be in trouble. You're gonna get yourself in trouble. And what I'm saying is, not like getting trouble from others, like somebody's gonna punish you or something like that. What I'm saying is, you're gonna stress yourself out. That's the trouble I'm talking about. Like, for instance, physically, emotionally, and mentally. Also, financially. Those are the 4 things. If you don't get yourself ready to have kids, you're screwed, man. You're going to get yourself in trouble. You're going to stress yourself out and not know what to do. You're going to panic. You're going to get anxious. You're going to freak out. So be careful. You know, it's not fear. It's a warning. It's alert. This is not a game. I've seen around people where they want to have kids, but they're not prepared. They're not financially prepared. They're not mentally prepared. They're not physically prepared. They're not all the way prepared. You have to be all the way prepared. You have to be all the way ready. You know, that's how some of the families don't go well. They don't get along well because they're not ready for everything to have a kid. You know, they put their kids into this world where, you know, they're going to put their kids through a tough time that the kids shouldn't even have to go through. You know, it's not required for the kids to go through that, to go through a personal tough time where they're going to grow up doing bad things, doing drugs, shooting people, buying guns, any of that stuff. Or abuse, assault, rape, and harass. So that means if you want kids, you got to heal yourself first. As much as some people who are going through a tough time still wanted to have kids and they don't want to hear this stupid stuff, I understand. But still, you got to heal yourself. You got to be all the way healed. You got to have time. You know, take care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and financially. Those are the 4 things I was saying. Take care of yourself, heal yourself, and make sure you find a suitable partner. Because I've seen people who are getting with their partners knowing that there are so many red flags that they don't even read. You get with the partner that abuses people, that abuses their last relationship. You get with the partner that assaults, rapes their last partner of the relationship, or even forces them to do drugs, or drugging them. And emotionally abuse them as well. Like yelling and all that stuff, and making them do this, do that without putting their hands on them. You know, kind of that narcissistic behavior. So yeah, make sure whatever you've gone through personally, that you've healed. You know, take a break by yourself. You know, do things by yourself before you even get with the partner. You know, because if you're trying to be a parent, you have to be really ready. You have to feel ready, you know, and you have to feel like you got to feel clean, mentally clean. What I'm saying is, if you really want kids, you have to make sure your mind is clear. And be clear with what you want. Be ready. And find a suitable partner that is willing to go on the same path as you, that really wants to learn parenthood with you. And so besides all that, what I tell you and stuff about healing, also, if you do want to be like, what I'm saying is, like, if you really want kids, make sure that you get a job where you get along with kids and take care of kids. You know, like a babysitter or a caretaker, something like that, if you want kids. Because if you're trying to get a kid, if you're trying to get with somebody and have a kid yourself, but you're not prepared, you don't have that experience, what are you going to do? I mean, there's videos out here to tell you how to have kids or prepare yourself when you have a kid. Even this video I'm making right now. Like, you gotta get a job where you learn to take care of kids. You gotta have training for that. Go to nursing or going to a kids nursing or kids hospital, school, or something like that. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But I'm just saying, if you really want kids. Also, another thing, because I have so many sayings that may not even make sense, but hopefully you might get it later. If you want kids, make sure you're friends with somebody who has kids. Like, can you get along with that person's kids? Can you get along with the kids that person has? Are you willing to do favors for that person with kids? Are you willing to hang out with kids once in a while? Are you willing to take them to the movies, taking them something to eat, taking them to school, taking them to Disneyland, taking them to, you know, like a Disney cruise ship or something like that? Are you willing to do whatever it takes to get along with somebody that has kids or with their kids? And if you really like the kids, sure, you can hang out with them. And, and if you keep hanging out with somebody who has kids, sure, you might as well feel ready to have a kid on your own. Oh, also, are you willing to prepare yourself? Like, are you willing to buy baby diapers? Are you willing to buy, how do you say it? Like baby wipes or pull-ups? Like, yeah, baby wipes to clean the rear end. Are you willing to buy the wheelchair? Are you willing to have like a baby carrier to put it in your car so that you could secure it by using your seatbelt? Are you willing to do that? And are you willing to have the money to take care of your kids? Because if you don't, they're going to struggle. You're going to struggle yourself. Are you willing to understand what they watch on TV? Like if that kid likes Wow Wow Wubsy or that Elmo show, that how do you say the Last Airbender Avatar, the Frozen one, where that kid is gonna keep watching Frozen and keep listening to the song Let It Go like 1 billion times. Are you willing to understand that? Like, can you really relate the TV shows that kid has been watching? Are you willing to watch all kinds of other movies? Are you willing to, teach the kids some things that you have learned? Are you willing to are you willing to watch the kids grow up? Because me, I didn't have a father. I live without it. I accept that. As much as I wanted him to be here, but that dream doesn't really come true. It's not even a dream anymore. I would rather be my own person, be my own example, but I'm not having kids. So I'm just saying that. I would rather take care of myself and go through the experience of life and traveling around the world myself and show the people what I'm passionate about. And let's see who's gonna vibe with me. That was off, but I'm just saying, there are kids who grew up without a father. There are kids who grew up without mothers. I think there are kids who grew up without guardians, who are just orphaned, kids that only grow up with orphan parents. Hang on. I am sweating today and it's hot. And sometimes, are you willing to take a joke from kids? Because some kids will take jokes. They will say some jokes that you won't even like. They'll say some jokes that are really personal to you. It doesn't feel like a joke. It's like the actual truth. Like, are you willing to do that? Like, they'll be asking you some questions. Are you willing to let the kids annoy you? They'll ask you some questions. They'll keep asking me, why this? Why that? Why are you wearing a bracelet? Why aren't you wearing a top shirt? Why are you wearing shorts? Why are you wearing sandals? Why is your hair long? Why do you keep cutting your beard? Why do you keep cutting your mustache? Why do you keep doing your thing? Why do you keep watching all these kind of movies? Any of that stuff. They'll ask you all kinds of questions. And if you're not ready, you shouldn't even have kids. And if you weren't ready, you shouldn't even be near kids. You shouldn't be friends with somebody who has kids. You shouldn't, because you ain't ready. And if you really want kids, make sure you find a suitable partner. Don't be hooking up with somebody and just not have protected sex. Don't be having unprotected sex. Have a condom. You know? And get married if you really want kids. And if you really want kids, you better be sure, prepare yourself. Especially for a disabled person. If you're going to have a kid that's disabled, you better buy a wheelchair. You better buy, some prosthetic things, like some prosthetic leg supporter, like something that'll support their legs or support their arms or even support their neck or something like that. Also, if you're gonna have a kids with autism, I'm autistic. If you're gonna have kids with autism, understand that they'll not always talk, and understand they'll not always communicate with their mouth. Like some autistic kids will talk to you by just drawing or something like that, or even like some kids will learn things. Like me, I would learn from visual perspective. When I watch a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows, when the movie is done, I would review it. Like I'm saying, the movies and TV shows, they help me talk. They really do. I don't know why, but they just do. They just help me talk to people. Because without these movies and TV shows, and especially nowadays, you know, when you're watching a TV show, a movie, something you like that is on TV, and you find some people that watch the same thing and just vibe with you along the way. You know? And some autistic kids can't even speak all the words out. I can barely speak all the words out. Like, I can barely talk without stuttering. It's hard to talk without correcting myself. It's hard. And do you know what else is hard? Talking without saying mumbling and stuff like that. It's hard. I'm not a normal dude, man. So there are people who are not even normal. I mean, there are normal people, but like, it doesn't feel normal when you accidentally say this and that. Like, we're not even perfect with how we communicate. We're not. You know, you got to understand, not every autistic kid wants to talk. They would just want to watch a TV show. And not every autistic kid wants to hang out with you. And if you're going to have kids with disabilities, you might as well support them when they're going on a school bus. Because when I was on a school bus going to high school, I'd be on the disability school bus. Like, I'm not disabled or I'm not saying my legs hurt or any of that. But when I ride the school bus, I see some disabled kids with wheelchairs on the bus. And they will have to find some machine. Like, there's some machines on the bus that helps lift kids that are on the wheelchairs to get on the bus. And you got to have a car that supports disabled kids on a wheelchair. A truck, a car, a van, doesn't matter. As long as that kid is able to ride. You see that with Access. You see that with school bus companies. You even see it on public transportation when you're riding on the bus in public. If you want kids, prepare yourself. Please prepare yourself. Be ready. Please be ready. Not every kid can talk. Be sure that when you have a kid that doesn't talk, learn some sign language. Or at least write it down. Or even text. Because sometimes they'll have a phone and just text you without saying their words or even doing a sign language. Like I'm at school right now. I'm at school and I have a classmate that does sign language and I can't even do it. Well, barely, but I could write it down because he can still see but not hear. So I would write it down and he would understand. And me as a kid, I used to write things down when I was going to restaurants. Like I was going to In-N-Out writing stuff because I was kind of nervous to talk. To tell them what I want. But you know what? I don't need to do that anymore. Unless it's a new restaurant and I'm ordering for somebody like my parents, my family, any of that stuff. Sure. But I can figure the rest out. Like it takes years to develop as a person. As a kid, it takes years to develop, evolve, and grow. And of course, if you want kids, make sure you give them healthy diets, because I never got a healthy diet at all. Like I'm not a diet person. Make sure your kids, make sure you're able to eat healthy, and make sure your kids follow the same example as you. Maybe until they're 18 and they can do whatever they want. Look, I'm no expert of telling people how to have kids. I'm no expert. But I could look through, I could see through, I could understand enough. And me as a kid, I've gone through it myself. Here's a fire truck. Trouble like that every day. Every time I'm parking around, every time I'm driving around, there's always a fire truck problem. Somebody's house burned down, something like that. You got to be able to protect your kids, period. Make sure that they're able to breathe when your house is on fire, because they cannot breathe through chemicals and they might die. And make sure that you're able to feed your kids. You cannot leave your kids starving, because there are kids who be starving through hunger and going through that, and then somebody's gonna have to help them with the money through that. Child raising stuff, like you see that everywhere. People putting money down and coins down to help raise child from starving hunger. You know? So make sure you are healed. Make sure you prepare yourself. Make sure you know what kind of kid you're having. Make sure you do some research. And please do not put your kids through a rough time that you're still going through. Please. Because they're going to go through the same thing. They're going to do bad things because they followed your bad example. And make sure you can handle the kid crying, because not a lot of parents want to hear the kid crying. Make sure you have some good discipline, like discipline the kid in a good way without whooping the butt. Sometimes. Take away their TV, you know, or maybe, yeah, something like that. Whatever you do, just don't traumatize the kid. Because I went through a rough time with my family drama. Never again, and we still got a lot of healing to do. It takes time. Also, kids that are becoming teenagers, make sure that I understand that they'll have an attitude. They're going to end up listening to rock, listen to some pop music, or even loud pop music that will blow up the roof of the house. They'll end up doing mosh pits in their room, making it a mess, and they don't even care. And for the teenagers that are girls, make sure you have tampons. You know what? Buy all the baby equipments and buy some puberty equipments before the kid is born. Prepare yourself. I can be wrong. I think that covers it. Like, dislike this video. Share it if you think this is cool. Comment if some things you don't agree. And there are some things you really agree and relate. I'll see you on the next one. So this is Eric. Peace.